show all about the greater West Bloomfield community. I'm Ronnie Dahl. Thank you so much for waking up bright and early with us this morning. So it's Friday. I guess it's the Memorial Day weekend. We can say that's happening now. The unofficial kickoff to summer fun, a weekend of cookouts and parades. But one local restaurant is paying tribute to those who served our country with food and a fundraiser. With us now on the Splash Live, Nick Alonzo with the Indo Restaurant in our fine city of Keego Harbor. Nick, good morning. Thank you for getting up early.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
So for those that have never been to your restaurant, give us a rundown. What can they experience when they eat there?
So it's really kind of hard to categorize. This is one of the questions we've struggled with a bit over the years. It's people that aren't familiar with Indonesian food often aren't even familiar with where it is. And it's basically it's a group of islands. It's archipelago, and it's nestled between Malaysia and Australia. It's closer to Malaysia. But basically, my wife is from Java. It's a big island. It's the biggest island that there is. It's where most of the people are. And the food is very eclectic. I mean, there's some Malaysian dishes in there. There's a couple Indian dishes there. There's some maybe Thai influence. And I mean, it's the thing is Indonesia was a big port kind of area. So a lot of traveling went through there. So a lot of different ethnic foods, I think, were picked up. But we do have some staples. You know, we have fried rice, which most Asian cultures eat. We have some curry dishes, which are from India. We have a couple Thai dishes. The rest of the dishes are very uniquely Indonesian. For example, the national dish is called Rundang. And what they did with Rundang, kind of like kimchi, they would bury clay pots in the ground. It's quite hot in Indonesia, and this is before refrigeration. And they would cook this meat until there was no moisture left. So it was almost like a jerky. And they'd bury it in these clay pots, and a good batch of Rundang might last you 6 months. And that's meat without refrigeration, 6 months in 90-degree temperatures.
Wow.
So it's quite an interesting dish. We make it, actually, it's not as dry as they tend to serve it in Indonesia, but that's kind of one of the staple dishes. But, you know, we have quite an extensive menu, and, you know, we have removed a couple dishes just only lately. But most restaurants we've seen through COVID have like cut their menus in half. We couldn't do that because this is the strangest restaurant I've ever worked for, in the sense like most restaurants change their menu because there's items that don't sell and blah, blah, blah. But we just don't have that. Every item on our menu sells. So it's really hard to change the menu. I've only, like I said, in 8 years, we just removed 3 dishes from our menu. That's probably the most change we've done.
What's nice is you're such a unique, a unique restaurant. And so do you bring people in because they specifically want to experience the food that you're serving? Because you can't find it anywhere else, really.
Right. And I mean, I think that's more, you know, up to what patrons are looking for, really. I mean, sometimes patrons are going out of their way to try and find unique things. I know myself, I've traveled a lot. I've always liked ethnic food. I grew up eating Mexican food, and I was trained in French food. But, you know, since then I've been to Spain. That's probably my second favorite cuisine is Spanish food, and of course Asian food. I mean, I kind of put that in one large category because there's just so much. And, you know, since the Renaissance we've had in Detroit, we actually are starting to have a great selection of restaurants in Detroit, and not start having, but I mean, it's been for some time now. But when I was a young chef, it was a totally different ball game out there. So
I'm sitting here thinking about this, Nick, because you've traveled extensively, and yet you ended up in our little town of Keego Harbor.
Well, that's kind of an interesting story. I mean, my wife and I we had moved to the United States. I met my wife in Hong Kong. She's ethnic Indonesian. And I got a job in New York. Shortly after, about a year after I had the job, the financial crisis hit, and I was working for a financial services company as an engineer, and like half the engineering got laid off, half the engineering staff was laid off almost straight away. So I came back to Michigan, which is where I grew up. and we ended up landing in Waterford, right down the street, Winding and Castle Elizabeth. So it was about a mile away. And when we got to the point where my wife had been a chef for many years, and as I said, I was a chef when I was young, even though I've had an IT career for about 30 years. We decided to open a restaurant, and the obvious choices were Ferndale, maybe Ann Arbor. They would have definitely been a lot easier. There's a client base there that's looking for that kind of food and so on. This was a challenge because we don't necessarily have that built-in demographic that are going to go, hey, what new interesting restaurants are out there? So it's been a challenge. I have a lot of neighbors that have lived on my street, on the same street as the restaurant, and it's taken them 7 years to come in. And it's like, well, why'd you wait so long? And a lot of people seem to be, Indonesian food. Like I said, I think a lot of Americans would have trouble finding Indonesia on a map. So they might be a little hesitant to try the food because they know nothing about the place. But I assure everybody, my wife's ethnic Indonesian, and if she's ever not too busy to where she can talk to people, she'll come out and talk to people. And it's just one thing we've struggled with over these years, and even before COVID, is finding cooks that can do this food. It's unique, and it's time consuming. It's complicated. I wouldn't say it's as complicated as French cuisine, but it's pretty complex. So it's just finding cooks that can do this kind of food. And now with COVID, it's become almost impossible.
Oh.
So we're struggling with the business that we can handle. I highly recommend everything's from scratch, so it does take time. I highly recommend people call ahead, see what kind of time frame we're on, try and come in our not busy hours. I realize, there's certain hours people eat dinner, but we're working with what we have, and all we can do is the best with what we have. And until some of these kids from this generation get out and start working more, I don't really see a solution to this problem.
Oh.
I mean, unless the Labor Department changes their policies on letting migrant workers do things like this, do more permanent kind of work, I don't know what solutions are out there.
Yeah, I always think every parent should make their child work in a restaurant because it teaches you life skills, just how to communicate. So,
right.
And can I ask you on
humility?
Right. Can I ask you too, because you're on Cass Lake Road, how's it been going? Because we know Cass Lake just reopened.
That was a bit rough. We even when they closed the road down to one lane, like they did that before they fully closed it, we dropped 50% of our business that week. So I ended up shutting straight away. Like during the week, we just killed our Wednesday, Thursday, and I've done this a few times before, like during COVID, even where it was just really slow. So if we condensed our work week to 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it tends to make it worth our while. Otherwise, you're opening up and wasting electricity and labor costs for no money. So so basically I did that, and we did okay through those 3 weeks, that the road was shut. I won't say we made money, but we didn't lose a horrible amount of money. So that's good. But
well, and hopefully you can make it up on Monday because
right,
we know it's
right.
going to be very busy. They've changed the parade route. You're on it. So do you want to tell us more about the event that you're going to be holding Monday?
Well, so the Parks and Rec approached us with allowing them to use our bathroom rather than get porta potties for the event. So we're going to be there anyway. We're roasting a pig and a lamb for Memorial Day. So we're going to open early. Hopefully we're going to have some things to sell for breakfast for the people that are at the Memorial Day parade. And we're giving out food to veterans. So anything we make, we'll be trying to feed vets as well. So about 3:30, the pig should be done. We're roasting a whole pig and a whole lamb. We're going to be giving out plates of food to veterans as long as the food lasts. Hopefully around 7, I think we'll be shutting everything down. We're having 2 bands. Paula Michelle, who was a Raylette, and my father's band, the Classics. They're a group, actually. Sorry, they're doo-wop oldies. And Paula Michelle is like blues, jazzy oldies as well. So there's going to be a couple good groups playing, and we're going to have a whole pig, a whole lamb, some sides, and people can either get plates to go, or they can pay for a ticket to sit and eat and enjoy the entertainment. Also, I put something on there. We haven't priced any of these out yet, but if people want like party trays for Memorial Day, we're going to be selling those as well. So all they have to do is inquire about those. Just depends on how many people they're feeding.
Right. That's the way to do it too. So that you're not cooking, let you do the cooking.
Right. Right.
And as someone who is challenged making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, that is really kind of the way to go. I can toast a peanut butter and jelly sandwich though. I'm a little cooking challenged, Nick.
Well, maybe we can help you out.
Well, we'll be out at the parade, so I look forward to meeting you in person. So after talking with Nick yesterday, it was the first time I went and got takeout from the restaurant last night, and it was amazing, but it was so much food. I'm like, I'm only one person. My husband's out of town. What do you want? I can't feed the whole neighborhood, but I did drop some off at some of my neighbors as well. So it was very good. Tell your wife she did an amazing job.
I will. Thank you.
Well, thank you again for being with us, and stop by if you're going to be out for the parade on Monday. And so just a reminder, we've been talking about this all week, but if you are going to be going to the parade, it's going to be starting at 10 a.m. It is a different route than years past. It's going to run along Cass Lake Road instead of Orchard Lake. So it's going to be starting at Otter Avenue right there by Indo, and then ending up by Roosevelt Elementary. So Cass Lake is going to be shut down from 9:30 a.m. until about 11 o'clock a.m. Keep that in mind. You're going to have to kind of snake your way around. The police have already posted a message on their Facebook to say you're not getting through the parade routes. So we're going to take a quick break here on The Splash Live. Before we go, though, we just want to remind you, if you know someone making a difference here in the community, we want to know about it. Scan the QR code on the screen if we can get that up. And then there is a Google form with the person's contact info. Tell us why you think they should be recognized. It could be a person, a business, or an organization. And you can also find the form by going to civiccentertv.com. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
And now, back to The Splash Live.
Happening around town this weekend for the 39th year, a Memorial Day service is going to be held at the Pine Lake Cemetery. Starts at 3 o'clock. There will be speakers along with the honor guard. It will end with taps, always an emotional performance. And the Memorial Day tradition returns to Sylvan Lake this year. The city's parade starts at 11:30 a.m. at City Hall. It ends at Memorial Park with a ceremony to honor our veterans. And of course, kids, if you want to be in the parade with your bikes, you're asked to meet at City Hall at 11 a.m. You're watching The Splash Live, your local channel sharing stories from West Bloomfield, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and Orchard Lake. Catch the show live Monday through Friday starting at 9:30 a.m. and on demand at CivicCenterTV.com.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those barbecues you plan in detail for your family? Or your daughter's first costume party? it was out of this world. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
And now, back to the Splash, live.
Great to have you with us this morning. I'm Ronnie Dahl. You know, the school year is just about over, and many kids will be spending the extra free time on their devices. So parents, how do you keep them safe? With us this morning, Carly Czech, Senior Account Manager with XFER Communications. Carly, I always learn so much from you.
Well, that's an awesome thing to hear. Thank you so much, Ronnie.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And I know we talk about this all the time with parents, but I always think it's a good reminder because the kids are so much smarter than we are, and they know their way around the devices. I mean, really, a 2-year-old is better on the phone than I am. So how can parents keep up with their kids?
Well, there are definitely a couple things that we would suggest to discuss with your children of all ages for their use of technology during the summer. Social media is the way that most people communicate nowadays, especially our children, teenagers, and grade school age. When they are home for the summer, we suggest that you sit down and have a conversation about the responsible use of your devices, what websites you're going on, scanning any attachments or emails or pictures that people are sending you, what websites you're going to download music or movies or stream TV shows. So sitting down and talking to them about what is okay for your household, what parental controls you will be turning on, and the fact that you will be monitoring them, and identifying a proper amount of screen time for the age group, and then have them sign a summer contract with you. But I would suggest that you also stay on par with that contract yourself. If you say no devices at 10 o'clock, you put your devices down as well. But by doing that, you have them thinking about it. And when you get a child thinking about what they're looking at, what they're doing, you're helping improve their critical thinking process. Is this a good site for me to be on? Would my parents be okay with this? Is this a dangerous site? Could this infect my whole household network because you're all on the same bandwidth when you're at home? So really good points of interest to discuss with your kids. Some of our huge topics to hit on is during the summer using social media. If you are on a vacation, do not post your pictures or that you are away from your home until you return. You're inviting people to come and invade your house. You're inviting people into your life while you are not there, and they know that. So you want to protect your physical being of your household and all the contents in it. You also want to make sure that nobody is tracking where you are. So turning off geolocator when you're posting your pictures and things of that nature, not a bad thing to do to protect our children.
I'm surprised how many parents don't realize it's on, because sometimes it can be kind of hard to go through and figure out how to turn it off.
Well, it's a really cool aspect in the way that if my child loses their phone or I cannot find my child, I can use geolocator on the phone and find them. So good in that aspect. Bad in the aspect if they're posting pictures consistently. Some predator out there could be following where they're at. So posting that you're out with friends, cool. Putting every place you're at, not so cool. Or just allowing your children to take pictures of where they are with friends during the summer, have them show them to you before they're posted, and then never truly put them up there at the time when the child's actually at that location. So it's about cybersecurity. It's also about physical security as our children are out at, water parks and friends' houses and, circuses, wherever they're going, or family trips with other friends' families. You just want to make sure that they understand that it's cool to show people what you're doing, but under the contract we signed, I have to review everything before you put it out there, and do not do it same day, same time, to protect yourself.
So can I ask you, what about software? Because we're seeing so many hacks right now. Like when I got my Facebook hacked, it took me months on end to get it back. So what should parents be looking out for there?
Well, I would definitely make sure that if your child is younger, you are turning on those parental controls. Maybe not allow them to utilize the messenger feature. Now that Facebook and Instagram and everything's attached to each other, you really have to be cautious of who's communicating with your children, and two, what are they sending? Is it real? Is it a video that your child could click on and all of a sudden they just took over your whole account? So being cautious of what you're allowing the child to have access to, and then teaching them with that critical thinking of, do not download an app of some sort without my knowing, so I can take a look at it for you. Or do not click on a friend link that looks suspicious. It's a different picture, the name's spelled differently. Just teaching them to stop, pause, and really read through what it is that they're looking at. A lot of people have those phishing scams out there that can take over your accounts. Big one in the news on Great America or Good Morning America was your VMware, so virtual servers. If you're somebody that's working from home because your kids are out of school and you've brought any kind of hardware or software virtual environment to your house, remember, you're all on the same bandwidth, you're all on the same network, unless you're working off a virtual private network while you're in that home. So you want to make sure that everybody's aware that they all have to stop, pause, and look at what they're looking at, what they're downloading, what sites they're going to. You definitely do not want to start a video game and stream, or have your daughter stream a TV show, and all of a sudden you've just taken down your whole all your files, your network, everything, your banking, everything's gone. So being cautious of what everybody's doing, and going back to that contract, I know it sounds weird, but it holds everybody accountable for being responsible for what they're looking at, and it will make them think about it before they click on it, hopefully.
Is there any type of software a parent can use to try to help them avoid some of these things?
There are virtual software programs out there to assist with having like a virtual firewall. At XFER Communications, we are a Sophos house. So we always instill a firewall that's a device on site. If we are working with a client that is a full cloud environment, we can use a software that is downloaded from the Sophos website. They offer it for free trial for home users. I would suggest everybody to log in and check that out, download it. It's going to protect the bad guys coming in.
I know, it's so crazy to think about this. When we were kids, it was like, go out and play, don't come home till you're dark, and don't talk to strangers. And
Exactly.
Now, you don't know the stranger is in your phone. It's just so crazy, this world.
When you're home, just keep in mind, a lot of people have smart homes now. Anything that carries an IP address is a door or a window into your network. So you want to make sure that you are protecting yourselves. You want to make sure you're not giving out any codes that shouldn't have them. Change them frequently. Make sure you are watching those videos on your Ring doorbell. Make sure you are monitoring even your home smart thermostat. You want to make sure that everything just looks up to par. And again, changing your codes every 30 days, every 60 days is not a bad thing. If you have multiple people in your home coming in and out, or contractors this summer, a lot of people are doing a lot of home improvements after the whole pandemic. So make sure that you are tracking who's coming in and out, who has those codes, and consistently monitoring your network utilizing parental controls.
Yeah, it's like technology makes our life easy. You know, like they even have smart refrigerators now. So when you're at the grocery store, you can be like, what's in my refrigerator? I need to get this. So it's great, but there is a downside to it. And I know that, you know, every time you go online, it pops up everyone's Wi-Fi. And, you know, changing that code, it's a pain in the butt. So many of us don't do it. And how many people too, especially homes with kids, use a really easy one, which typically it's like their address or something.
Oh, yes. I mean, I would suggest put something in your calendar that every so amount of days you just go and check everything, or, you know, change the parental control code so you can ensure your children haven't already hacked into it, because they are smarter than we were at those ages. If you take 5 minutes to look at everything every quarter of the year, or, you know, every other week during the summer while everyone's at home, it is a huge time saver compared to tracking down where all of your accounts went, where all of your passwords went, trying to pay out any ransomware, trying to contact someone like us to fix your work PCs, your home PCs. Believe me, the 5 minutes just to make sure everybody is checking off everything on that contract for the summer, all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted, it is highly beneficial.
So quickly, Carly, before we say goodbye, how can people reach you guys at XFER Communications if they have questions?
Of course, you can always go to our website at www.xfer.com. We have a chat feature in there. You can contact us there. You can reach out to me directly. My office line is, well, I'll give you the main line, is 734-927-6666. We also have social media accounts, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Please reach out if you have any questions, especially if you're a business owner. We can make sure that you are set up for the summer. And besides that, I hope everyone has a very safe cyber summer this year.
That's a good line. I think that. I like that. Thanks so much, Carly. She saved us a couple times, so they do good work over there. That's going to do it for today's edition of The Splash Live. We want to say thank you to all of our guests for taking time out to be with us today, and for all of our friends in Keego, Sylvan, Orchard Lake, and West Bloomfield, thank you for tuning in.